I just want to point out some hypocrisies and double standards I've noticed within certain groups. Why do people like to pick and choose when certain behaviors are wrong? Please make sure to like and subscribe. I carried out a poll a little while ago, and most of us agree that anyone of any race can experience racism. Yes, even white people. This is a clip from Jubilee that helps prove my point.
White people also experience race-based prejudice.
Since you guys probably don't know, I have lived overseas. I've lived in Asian countries. In Japan, there are certain restaurants and stuff like that that you could walk into. You can see people dining in the restaurant, and they're gonna tell you they're closed just because you're white or you're American.
With this in mind, I want to talk about the movie Joy Ride and its instances of xenophobia and racism. What I found weird was Lolo's mum's comment when she arrived in the US. Imagine a white person visiting Ghana and saying, "Look at all the black people." White people make up the majority of the US population, so of course you'd see a lot of them there. They were also a bit hostile towards Audrey's parents, because people often assume all white people are racist. A Mexican woman can't go to a Japanese city and complain about the lack of diversity, or ask why they aren't more Mexican people. Audrey's friend, Lolo, says she's basically white just because she has a picnic basket and a throw pillow, likes girly things and watches American shows. Imagine if she said, "You're basically Chinese" to a white girl because she liked things that were stereotypically associated with Chinese people. No one would accept that. She also made this comment because Audrey was showing affection to her parents. Someone please tell me how hugging is a white people thing. Another thing that didn't make sense to me was when he said this. How does knowing where you quote-unquote came from affect your identity as a person? It doesn't. The whole concept of knowing who you are is just meaningless. To me, knowing who you are isn't something we're meant to just know. It's something we're meant to create. The irony is that Audrey ended up being Korean, not Chinese. So all the ridicule she got about not knowing her Chinese culture or heritage, all the effort she put in to learn about the culture, and the language was all for nothing. That's why what Chow said makes no sense at all. All it did was make Audrey self-conscious about being American. When the friend group were on the train looking for who to sit with, Audrey chose the white woman, and it was very understandable that she did that. After all, those are the people she grew up with and are comfortable being around with. That this is what sparked the accusations by Lolo that Audrey is racist against her own people. They accuse her of being racist against her own people simply because she grew up in a different country and hasn't slept with an Asian man. Which is just so ridiculous, by the way. I wasn't aware you had to sleep with someone of a certain race to prove you're not prejudiced against them. I've never slept with an Indian. Does that mean I hate Indian people? No. And later in the movie, when she sleeps with not one but two Asian men, that's when she gets their approval, which is honestly just disgusting. Audrey got ridiculed so much for being American and having white parents that now she's ashamed of it. The same group who hate certain white people for being racist happen to be just as racist and xenophobic to others. This is how Lolo's family reacted after finding out that Audrey was Korean and not Chinese. It's just so hypocritical. And while we're on the topic of hypocrites, so everyone agrees that racism is wrong. But why is homophobia treated as acceptable? It's especially treated as acceptable when it's from a black person or any person of color. Everyone is ready to fight and defend people of color when it comes to things like this.
Trailer park trash.
You know what?
We are so far from trailer park trash.
No. Disgusting black piece of black piece of.
That white woman was obviously hated on and cancelled for saying that. But when it's things like this, or this.
Do you see how that's incredibly offensive?
Yes, I do. That's why I said it.
The same type of prejudice by people of color, often black people, directed at gays and lesbians. Suddenly it's okay. And anyone who gets offended by it is a quote-unquote snowflake. No one is ever willing to call them out on this hypocrisy.